Once you have successfully linked an architectural model into your project, there's some functionality that we can take advantage of that you normally would not get in a traditional 2D process. Since we are working in a 3D model, we need to actually add building levels such as first floor, second floor, and so on. These levels will be at the same elevations as the architectural model. Although we can see the levels in the architectural model, we need to physically have these levels brought into our own model. We can copy these levels, luckily, into our model, then establish a monitoring system even, to make sure that when an architect moves their level, we're going to get a warning that our model needs to be coordinated and reviewed. The objective of this video is to create the necessary levels by copying in the architectural levels and monitoring them for movement. To get started, let's go down to our OnePower floor plan. Project Browser, Power, Floor Plans, double-click OnePower. Now, let's scroll into the south elevation and double-click on this. The reason we're doing that is because we need to be in an elevation view to see the levels. Let's zoom in over here where we see all this activity. There's a lot of different levels. That's because the structural and the architectural models are linked in. We can get rid of the structural model to kind of clean this up. To do that, we're going to look at the visibility graphics for the view elevation south elect. To do that, type VG. These are the visibility graphic overrides for the elevation south electrical, which means that any change we make to our visibility graphics, we're not going to see in any other view. The first thing I want to do is go to Revit Links. Let's physically uncheck structural.rvt. We did not unload this from the entire model, we just got it out of this view. Click Apply, and then click OK. We can see now that it's cleaned up a little better. I'm going to zoom in to our level 2 and our level 1. We'll see we have a level here and a level here that we can physically select. If we hover over these levels, we'll see that we can't select them. That's because these are in the architectural model. The first thing we should do, though, is kind of pull these levels over to the right so we can kind of see which is ours and which is theirs. To do that, go ahead and select level 2 anywhere on it. What we're going to see is a little 3D icon, which means that if I grip edit this or stretch it, it's going to stretch in every other view looking at our elevations. We also see a little padlock icon. This is going to constrain level 2 to level 1, meaning that if I drag it to the right or to the left, level 1 is going to follow along with it. For example, you see there's a little round grip right here. Go ahead and pick that by holding down your left button and drag it over to the right. You'll see how that behavior is. Level 1 moves along with level 2. That's great. Hit Escape once to just deselect level 2. What we want to do now is make our 10-foot level 2 be that 18-foot that the architect has. To do that, we're going to want to align level 2 to the architectural level 2. To do that, go to the Modify tab. On the Modify panel, we're going to see an Align button. Click it. The procedure is we need to first select the line we want to align to. Then second, we pick the line we want to physically move. So the first thing we need to do is select this line right here. You know you've selected it when you see the temporary alignment line show up. Once you see that, go ahead and select level 2. Not only does it move level 2 up, but it changes its elevation to 18 feet. Hit Escape twice to deselect level 2. The next thing we need to do is monitor these two levels. For example, if the architect wants to move their level to 16 feet, it would be nice for us to know that. To do so, go to the Collaborate tab and click on the Copy Monitor dropdown. Let's choose Select Link. Once Select Link is picked, pick anywhere on the architectural underlay. What's going to happen is we're going to get thrown into the Copy Monitor control. Under Tools, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to monitor. So go ahead and select Monitor. We're going to select our level 1 first. Then we're going to pick the same spot and select the architectural level 1. We're going to repeat that on level 2. Select level 2, then pick level 2 again. If we zoom out a little bit, we'll see a little heartbeat icon indicating that we have it selected. Now let's move into selecting more levels. Since the text is so big, we can come down and we can increase our scale. So let's click on 1/8 inch equals a foot. Let's set it to a 1/2 inch equals a foot. Now, when we zoom back in on our levels, we can see them a lot more clearly. The next step is to copy. Make sure you click the Copy button, and on the Options toolbar, click on the Multiple button. Now, one of the more important things you need to do is, when you're selecting multiple items in Revit, hold down the Control key on your keyboard. Notice that you'll see a little plus sign next to your cursor. Click on level 3. Pan down a little bit. Hold the Control key down. Click on level 4. Pan down. Control key. Level 5. And then lastly, we're going to hold down our Control key and click on the roof level. Click the Finish button on the Copy Monitor panel. You may get a warning saying that families have been duplicated. That's absolutely fine. Close out of the warning. Now lastly, click on Finish under Copy Monitor. Once you've done this, you can select your levels and move them all out. Notice that you have all the levels selected. The next and last thing we'll do here is just go ahead and select the level. And instead of level plenum, let's hit the drop down and go 1/4 inch head. Notice that that turns on all of the bubbles here. Let's do that again. So we can select level 5, and we can see we have our Modify Levels temporary panel up, and we can change the properties right here to 1/4 inch head. Repeat that for level 4, level 3, and level 2 and 1 should be all set. Zoom out and save your model. Now that we're locked into our architectural model, we can really begin the process of adding components.